I'm making a slab clay box, and this demonstration also shows how to roll out clay when you're using the slab method of clay construction. I'm preparing my clay by compressing it to compress the air pockets out. I'm turning it and pushing it down on the hard surface. And then I take it and I stand up and I press down on it with the heels of my hands to make a rather thick slab. On either side I have a board that's 1/4 inch thick, and I have a plastic work surface underneath. I'll be using a piece of plastic pipe for a rolling pin, but you can use anything that's similarly shaped. And I start out by pressing down on the clay. I'm pressing hard, and I'm rolling the clay out away from me. Right now the clay is thicker than the sticks, so it's not going to be rolling on the sticks just yet. And I turn and I roll the clay back toward me, still pushing hard, and roll up and down. And now what I'm going to do is turn the clay and roll it the other way, because then I can get the slab a little bit wider, and that way I won't be necessarily limited to a really narrow slab. Now the idea of having the sticks is that it holds the rolling pin up 1/4 inch above the table, and once the rolling pin is rolling freely back and forth on the sticks, that means that my clay is an even thickness, and it'll be the same thickness as the sticks. It'll be 1/4 inch thick. The plastic mat makes it a lot easier to pick the clay up and turn it, and it won't stick to the surface, or it's easy to peel off if it does. And this is how thick the clay slab is. Now I'm going to start out with my patterns. I've made patterns for all the different parts of the box, and I'm cutting my pattern out. I'm using a needle tool to do that, but I could also use a butter knife. In fact, a butter knife might be better. And I try to stay right close to the edge of the pattern and remove first all of the extra pieces, and I usually put them underneath a damp cloth to stay moist, and I set this aside. And that's how thick it is. It's even thickness all the way around. I rolled out another clay slab using the same technique that I just showed you, and I've cut out other pieces for the box. Now the sides of the box are all going to be the same height, so I just really have one pattern piece that I'm going to use for all 4 sides. And I know that some of the sides are shorter, but I have a reason for what I'm doing, and you'll see. So I'm cutting around this piece, and then I will just move the pattern piece over and cut it around it again for the next piece. Remember, you could use a butter knife too. I just happen to have a needle tool handy. As I cut out the pieces, I set them aside, and as I need more clay, I roll out more slabs until I have all of the pieces that I need. Okay, I'm going to cut out the end pieces, and remember I told you that I was going to cut them longer than what I need. And that's because when I add the sides of the box, it makes the distance that the end has to go longer. And so that way I can just use this piece and then trim off what I don't need to get the length that I need for the end of the box. Whatever kind of a clay slab project you make, you would be using the same technique that I just showed you, where you're using the sticks and the rolling pin and the mat and preparing the clay and making a pattern and cutting the pattern pieces out. For this project, the pieces are going to need to be a little bit stiffer so that when I put them together they don't collapse. So they're going to need to sit out and dry a little bit until they're leather hard. And that means that the clay still has moisture in it, but it's not bone dry, so that you can still work with it.